Yeah, go.
Trying to have banter here, Ryan.
We're going live.
All right, I'm trying to have
Let's bitch about YouTube. Let's bitch about
conversations.
YouTube on YouTube.
All right, so that was a good.
Should we not curse?
I don't.
Should I not curse? Do you care?
I don't really care. I
You'll
don't
get
know.
demonetized, but not that
It's
you
up
were
to you.
already.
I'm not monetized. I'm demonetized already. I am voluntarily demonetized.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna take a brief drink here in a second.
It's fine.
Cause worry, you know, like we're going live at 7, and all of a sudden it's like, hold on a sec, nothing works. Ooh.
Wait.
Then the audio doesn't work.
And now we don't have any video.
Now,
Okay.
yeah, there's always something. Anyway, hey Mike.
What's up, Scott?
Thank you, by the way. I've said this before we went online.
Yeah.
For filling in at the last minute.
Of course.
Daryl unfortunately got sick,
Yeah.
and
sucks.
you were kind enough to say, hey, how about instead of working on this, I'm gonna sit down and play this.
Play a game I was sort of wishy-washy on whether I was interested in it or not, so now we'll find out.
And now you're sitting here forced into playing it.
In front of a live studio audience. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Great. Well, I'm Scott. If you've watched my channel at all, you might know who I am because I'm the only person ever featured on this channel.
That's Scott.
Except, actually, no, you were kind of featured. I think I said your name once.
You
when
did
we
in
were shooting
the Dune print and play.
print and play video. Yeah.
That was fun.
You were shooting. That was fun. I would like to do more print and plays.
You should.
I've actually had people ask me if I would do 18xx print and plays.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I still want to do my Spartacus Pokemon retheme. So I'm going to work on. Still working on that.
Pokemon that you know nothing about.
I don't watch Pokemon. I don't have any. I know like Squirtle.
The
so
fact that the first thing you say you do with Pokemon is watch it.
Exactly. I have no idea.
Not play it.
I've proven my point.
Maybe indicative.
I've proven my point.
Anyway, thank you very much for sitting down with this Guilty Land.
Let's do it.
A game that I've been interested in for a bit. I've played it once with my friend Daryl, who was originally, I don't want to say you're second tier, but Daryl was the person that was going to be here.
He played once, so you would have
so
a
now
better.
But
now the viewers can see it through the eyes of somebody who's never played this game.
Versus an expert like me.
Like you,
who
who's
had
played it
played
once.
it one time. There's also something I want to get out of the way first. It's exciting news. Mike Ryan over in the control kitchen. Very exciting. We might have an internet first.
What's that?
Live on stream. I wanted to surprise you guys with it too.
I can't wait.
There might be the world's first live streamed mattress delivery. They've never done that on the internet before.
I hope it actually happens now.
I know. I do say think because I'm supposed to have a mattress delivered between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. today. They have not delivered it.
Wow. So they're waiting until the last minute.
They're waiting until the last minute. So there could be a very exciting interruption here.
Ding dong.
Where you and me need to carry I think it's like an 85-pound mattress.
That sounds great.
In here. So I just want that to be.
Should we unbox it on camera too?
Just forget this game. We're going to unbox a mattress. It's an IKEA mattress, highest quality.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
In the meantime, though, why don't we learn how to play this Guilty Land?
Great.
Because you have no idea.
I have this very basic idea of how the game works.
And I've played it once, and as I said, I'm an expert now.
Okay.
So, in this game, we are, and if Ryan, you want to switch over to the map here. In this game, we are sort of abstractly battling over the politics of slavery immediately preceding the Civil War. The game ends when the Civil War begins, the U.S. Civil War, to be clear.
Got it.
One side will be justice, and one side will be oppression.
Right.
Now, the sides we're sitting on right now, you are on the justice side, which is blue, and I'm on the oppression side, which is red.
You mean the right side of history?
The correct side of history is, I'm certainly on the wrong side of history. But I don't know if I'm going to remain on the wrong side of history.
Right, we're going to do this.
We're going to do a random draw here to see who plays what side. And then do a very smooth stand up and move our microphones over.
Move the cords.
Yeah. Which I'm sure will go flawlessly. So in this game, one person's justice, one person is oppression. And essentially what we're trying to do is have sort of a political stranglehold over the country by the time the Civil War starts. All of these pieces, these colored, red and blue colored counters on the map, sort of represent like the House of Representatives and the Senate and all that. And as we play, we're going to be flipping them over and exchanging them for different colors. So the reds might turn to blues, the blues might turn to reds, and that'll shift around as we play.
Got it.
The game is played largely, and by largely I mean almost exclusively, with these cards. I happen to draw all red ones right now. I'm going to reshuffle these
Okay.
And I'm seeing them anyway, but I'm going to shuffle these in a sec. So there are a bunch of cards in this deck, but really there are only 4 types plus like a special type. There's violence, law, public opinion, and organization. Those are the cards that we will mostly be playing, and they're almost all the same.
Okay.
I'm sorry, they're almost all the same within each category. So while there are multiple violence cards, all the violence cards for the most part do the same thing.
But it's not like so much as this is just flavor text.
No.
But they are similar.
Correct. Within each of these categories, so all the organization cards act similarly, all the public opinion acts similarly, but these are different from each other. If that makes sense.
Sure.
So, real quick, because this is sort of the main piece of the game, I want to talk about how these cards break down.
Okay.
I'll put one your way so you can see it as well. So in the upper left of the card is the cost. It's the currency of the game are these yellow markers called political will. And this is what you spend to do stuff. And cards have a cost. So this one costs 3 political will, this one costs 4, this guy here costs 2.
Okay.
The top middle part of the card is the type. So violence, law, public opinion, organization, etc. They'll also all have a colored band.
Southern chivalry, and he's beating him with a cane. I don't know if we can see this.
It's very chivalrous.
It's great.
The colored band denotes whose side the card applies to. So red is for oppression, blue is for justice.
Now you say 4, you mean played by them?
Played by them.
Okay.
It is played by them, and it is only applicable to them.
Okay.
It'll all affect the board, I guess, which is applicable to both of us, but you will only ever use blue cards, I'll only ever use red cards, assuming the sides remain the same here.
Got it.
In the middle here is the name of the card, which is simply flavor. So Southern Chivalry is just flavor.
Right.
But below it is what the card does. And it uses some iconography that, in many cases, iconography can be a little confusing in games, I feel. We make fun of Cyclades.
Cyclades in
Seven
particular.
This is wild stuff that is impossible to read.
Right.
But if you know the rules, you can kind of look at it and it can be a little reminder
Sure.
of how something works. And that's the same thing here.
Okay.
The way these work, we can kind of deal with when they come out, because you're only going to have access to some of these at a time. They're going to be random draws.
Okay.
So you might not have a violence card available to you. You might only have public opinion cards available to you.
Okay.
So I'll actually leave this up to you because I'm teaching you right now. Would you want me to break down how each of these work, or do you want them just as they come up?
Let's do them as they come up.
Okay, just keep things moving.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I also think in the context, I'll have an easier way of
I'm sure.
applying it to that moment.
Once you understand the rest of the things.
Exactly.
Sure. Okay, but just know that that's sort of how a card breaks
Sure.
down.
Got it.
There is one other thing that some cards have, which you can see on this one that I start with. Or I'm saying me because I'm on the oppression side right now, but again, we might switch in a second. Some cards say speech below it, and that is relevant. That acts sort of like an interrupt at times. There's a time when you can say, I'm going to play this as a speech.
Oh, got
and
it.
it does something a little different.
Okay.
So, like I said, oppression starts with this particular card, so I'm just going to put that back over here, but the rest of these will get shuffled away.
Got it.
The way the flow of the game works, I'm going to leave this out for a second,
Sure.
is we will play through, I believe it's 5 phases, though one of them, maybe 2 of them, are just like bookkeeping.
Okay.
On the first phase of the game, we're going to do initiative, and you'll skip that in the very first turn because setup sort of includes that. In initiative, we're going to be placing new cards out here in the event display area. Event display is our hand. We have hands of cards, but they're not secret.
Okay.
They sit over here for us both to look at.
Okay.
And in the initiative phase, that is when we're going to deal out new cards over to here.
Okay.
Then we are going to table something. Table an issue. There are 4 issues over here on the lower right corner of the map. Tariffs, fugitive slave acts, anti-federalism, and expansion. These are the kind of political issues that we're going to be tangling with. These will, at every turn, every new round, one of these can be tabled, typically by the oppression player, and almost certainly by the oppression player. Tabling simply means picking one of them and saying, we are not going to vote or deal with this issue at all this turn. You flip it over to this no pass side. That means, in this case, tariffs. Not going to touch that. No card is going to touch tariffs this game. Okay. Which, actually, fittingly...
Who decides that?
Mostly oppression. I say mostly because there is a situation in which justice can be the one deciding it.
Right.
But it's typically oppression. After an issue is tabled, we then go into the meat of the game.
Okay.
The first player, the first acting player, which is going to be determined in the initiative phase, it's whoever has the most political will choose who gets to go first in this round. The first player will then play these cards. You must play at least one. You may play as many as you are able to play. By which I mean able to spend political will doing or that you have available, as much as you want. It's up to you. Once you finish doing those, the other player does the exact same thing. Then we go to the end turn phase, which is pretty much just bookkeeping.
Got it.
We're going to reevaluate who controls politics out here, and then move on to the next turn. Okay. And this is also where we'll see if someone has won the game.
How long is a turn in like game years or game time?
That's actually a good question. I'm not positive. I'm sure it says in the rule book.
Because the whole thing's supposed to take place over what,
it takes place over a fair chunk of time.
Like 10 or 20 years or something?
Yeah.
Or is it that long?
That's a good question, actually. I'm sure it says in the rules. There's actually in the rule book quite a bit of flavor text surrounding everything that I have paged through and have read a bit of. But off the top of my head, you're putting me on the spot, and I just don't know.
It's fine. Just curious.
So that's like the broad idea of the game. Okay. We're going to be playing cards to affect this, and at some point, someone is going to win.
This all makes sense to me so far.
Fantastic. The game is not too complicated, generally
It does not
speaking.
seem so.
Despite the kind of heady, powerful theme, the actual mechanics are pretty straightforward. So as far as winning the game, there are 4 potential victory conditions. 2 of them are victory point based, and 2 are a situation will be so on the map, like the laws will be in a certain way, or the amount of control of politics will be a certain way, that there's no victory points total, and the game just ends.
Okay.
Those 2 ways, the 2 definitive no VP ends, are legislative over here. These each have a track, as you can see. One side is red, one side is blue. If one player gets 3 of these all the way to their side, come the end of that turn, they win. Okay? So in this example, red would win. If they were all the way over here, blue would win. All right?
Got it.
That
even if one's all the way the other way?
Doesn't matter. If 3 of them are on one side, any 3, game ends.
Got it.
The other one is marginalization, and that is if your faction has no support out here, which are these markers. So if these all turn red, red player wins. Okay. Which, again, makes sense if we're fighting over kind of political control of the situation.
Once you own everything, you can just do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Right.
And the other 2 are victory point based, and these actually benefit justice more than oppression, the next 2. First, there is a finite number of VP in the game. That is these green markers. There are also these purple ones off to the side. These are simply for tallying points that you get after the game ends. They're not used actually during the game.
Okay.
During the game, there are 30 victory points available. If all of these are taken, they all run out, the game will end at the end of that turn. At that point, we're going to score victory points for laws, and we will divvy up. Actually, sorry, we don't divvy up. I apologize. I said justice has an advantage here. Justice gets points for every support marker they have out here.
And support marker is because there's different ones here, right? There's the one with the bell.
Support is the one with your icon on it.
What's the other one?
Those are compromise. But
they're leaning towards.
They're leaning. In the blue ones are leaning towards justice. The red ones are leaning towards oppression, but they don't fully support you.
Got it.
So, at the end of the game, if the game ended right here, just like this, justice would get 6 extra points here and 1 extra point here. Oppression does not get points for these bonus tokens.
Oh, nice. For justice.
Right, yeah. So if you can get it to this point where you have to tally up victory points, justice has that advantage.
Okay.
The final way you can win is if this deck gets exhausted, this deck of cards. There are times when we're going to shuffle it back in, but if we get to the point where the deck is completely emptied, game ends, you tally VP. Same thing, justice gets bonus points.
I'm going to call that the Frederick Douglass one.
That's the Frederick Douglass deck, yeah. the FDD.
That's the FDB right here. That's how you win. You exhaust Frederick of all of his options.
Yeah, yes. So you exhaust Frederick Douglass of every potential choice and option.
Then
he's like, I'm finished. We're going to war.
Let it be what it is.
Yep.
Got it.
So those are the 4 ways to win. In the game I played before, it was a legislative victory for oppression. And the order that I read those in are also important. We can touch on those later on, but those are sort of the order of tiebreakers.
Got it.
If multiple become true, then the top one is the most relevant.
Okay.
So, because we don't tally victory till the very end of the round. So if I got 3 of these over here, and the victory point pool emptied in the same turn, Mike, how on earth do we figure out which one we use for determining victory?
That order.
It is in this order.
Got it.
Legislative is the top of the order.
Okay.
And that will, again, end of the turn is when you calculate that. So there's not an immediate game stops right away victory.
Perfect.
So why don't we finish setting up right now, and then we can kind of touch on rules that come up that we need to deal with.
Okay.
Okay. First thing we need to do is figure out what side we're going to be playing as.
Right.
Okay. So we can just take these. Actually, let's take some extras so we don't disrupt the board. So I've got 1 red in my hand and 1 blue. I'm going to shake these up. I'm going to turn my hand upside down.
So the one that comes out is you, right?
Sure.
Is that what we're going to do?
If you want to do it that way, yeah.
I mean,
So I don't know which is which. First one, actually, yeah. First one that comes out will be me. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Do it.
First one is blue.
So you're justice.
That means you're oppression.
Got to be the bad guys.
Sorry, bud. All right, now let's.
The real life bad guys.
Get up. Sure, cause a bunch of cable noise while we're doing that.
Speaking of, seems like we have sync issues.
Oh, really?
And also, like, doing stuff on 2 does nothing.
It's not adjusting the volume at all?
Whose volume is it?
It's supposed to be yours, but
Can you hear me?
yeah, everything's like through 1 right now.
It's weird.
That is very odd. So it's out of sync?
It is. There are some sync issues.
How badly? I'm wondering if it's just us getting picked up on different microphones. I almost took it over here.
I mean, it's hard for me to tell. But
Sure.
In the comments, we are getting some
Someone's saying it's sync.
issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it bad? Like, is it a large delay? Is it very minor?
Might be similar to what we were dealing with.
And that was microphones, like one microphone picking up someone else's voice, right?
Well, that was at the stream, but then remember when we were doing it here that one time, and we were trying to, and there was like the sync was way off. The audio was super
I
off.
thought that when it was very off was elsewhere. I could certainly be mistaken.
Wasn't with that computer, that's for sure.
No, it's not.
Well, you can stay on the board most of the time as long as it's not super off, right?
Yeah, for the most part, the camera is going to be shooting here onto this board. We can also. There's only 1 player aid, so I'm going to set that over
The delay
here.
is pretty large according to our audience.
Pretty-
5 or 6 seconds.
5 or 6 second delay.
Between audio and video?
I'm hearing 10 seconds according to 1 person. Yeah.
Wow.
Geez, that is quite a bit.
Should we restart this? Try to figure it out and restart it?
Yeah, we could do that. We could pause for a moment and try to figure out what's going on before we actually start playing.
That's fine.
So end stream
Sure.
real quick.
Yeah, we're gonna shut down for a sec. We'll be right back.